ప్లీజ్ లైక్ ద వీడియో. దయచేసి వీడియోని లైక్ చేయండి. అలాగే మీరు ఛానల్ని ఫస్ట్ టైం చూస్తున్నట్టయితే సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. ప్లీజ్ సబ్స్క్రైబ్ ద ఛానల్ if you are for the first time visiting the channel.
Dictation will start in few seconds. To begin with, I confess to a sense of secret satisfaction that I have been given this opportunity of meeting friends of a profession to which I once belonged, but from which I served connection more than 40 years ago now. It is really good in this way, by short contacts, to be reminded of what I was once engaged in and what I tried to do in my own humble way in that profession. I am one of those who do not believe that the work of lawyers is finished. You all know that our entire constitution is based largely on British model. Our administration of justice also is largely a copy of the system that prevails there. We know what importance the British Constitution has for the British people, and we also know how the judicial administration has stood the test of time and how it has proved that in spite of party wranglings on the political platform, how justice has always been able to keep itself above all parties, how judges have been able to dispense justice fairly and freely to all who have come to them, and how it has been the anxiety and the effort of all parties concerned to keep judiciary above any kind of suspicion. The mere fact that we have copied those institutions ought to be a guarantee that in this country also, at any rate at present, and so long as our constitution, the present constitution, lasts, there can be no clear of lawyers or law courts or judges losing any of the great importance which they enjoy. And as a matter of fact, we have even now many of our top people who are engaged in the administration of the country who were lawyers. And even if it be true that we are not ruled by lawyers now, there is no question that we are to be ruled according to law, and in order to be ruled according to law, there must be lawyers to point that out and lay down the law. One of the things which I have sometimes considered rather unfortunate is that while we have provided rather meticulously for the independence of our judiciary, and have also provided in a way for the assistance to be given to judges by lawyers in administering the law, there is no provision anywhere that those who make the law
know any law at all. And unfortunately, that is so because in democracy you can only count heads. You don't care to know what lies in those heads, and therefore that it is only by sheer numbers that men are elected to rule the country. It is expected that in their own interest they will vote for the best men that are available, and we presume that will always happen. We have yet to see if that always happens, but let us hope that it will happen. There is one thing, however, lawyers have no fear, although it has been pointed out by the chairman of the Bar Association that there are limitations on lawyers on account of legislation in various fields where many things are being excluded from the jurisdiction of courts, and in some cases where certain matters come up for judicial interpretation, lawyers are not permitted to help in arriving at the correct decision on the law by the persons who have to decide the law. All that is true, and personally I feel that it is not at all good that jurisdiction of courts should be excluded unless it is a case that it is impossible or it is not in the best interest of society as a whole that courts should interfere, because there is always a tendency in those who have the power to use the power as to be consistent only with the existence of that power and not to allow anything to be done which may in any way tend to a reduction of that power. And for that reason, governments like individuals are apt to act in such a way as to exclude the jurisdiction of the third parties like judges who are not influenced by the same consideration as rulers or administrators are. There is such a tendency, and I say that it is not a good tendency. It should not be there, because unless it be a matter of state in which you cannot trust the judges and where you have to take a decision purely on administrative grounds, there is no reason why even the acts of the administration should not be open to judicial interpretation and to judicial interference if necessary. But that is a question of opinion, and some people may hold that opinion, others may hold that the interests of the people are important.